Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to do our commodity update, technical analysis. We'll go through all these different sectors. I'll give you my financial opinion on the sectors and what it looks like. We're going to start with the dollar, 10-year yield, and then work our way through precious metals and other commodities and ETFs. So let's dive in. Let's see what we've got for today. We've got the dollar here, the DXY relative strength indicator. Getting stronger today. Nice little move higher. Looks like we're aiming at this 109 level, moving higher here. So we had a pullback. We hit our head. We're coming on back, and we're aiming our head again at that resistance level. That level is a longer-term resistance line starting basically all the way through here. It's a big boy line. Once you kind of break it, you kind of stay below it. So I would suspect that we're going to come up and try to hit it again. I don't know if we'll break through it. It's a very strong resistance line, but it is playing in the upper section of this channel, which means we hit it, we bounce back a little bit, almost like a kind of like a cup and handle. We don't have a cup and handle situation here, but you hit resistance and then you make a little loop or cup. If it were to come back and retest, and we'll see what happens. I don't really have any sort of preconceived notions with this. Usually under commodity booms, this goes down lower. The DXY goes down at some point in the commodity boom. It really depends on the amount of loans in the system in relationship to the amount of loans in other people's currency systems. So it's inflation versus inflation. And right now, the dollar is strong. The 10-year yield dropping a little bit today. I threw in this pattern here. Is this kind of a rising wedge? We'll see. We saw these three large up candlesticks, mainly bullish engulfings. But right now, slightly lower today. We're still within this pattern, if that is a viable pattern. I kind of just threw that in there. And then we look at the 20-year Treasury Bond Etf. It is kind of, squeezing up here. Are we going to get another move lower, or is this going to break higher? Again, we'll find out. I think that it will eventually break lower. A projected move of something like this is probably on the lines of something like this, to the downside at a bare minimum. So something on the lines of 110 is probably the price it'll go to eventually. But that's TLT. The CRB index heading higher today. I did throw this in there. Could this be an ABC correction? It very well could be. We got to see which way this thing breaks first. Again, I'm in it for the long term either way. And I think that commodities are going to do very well over that time frame. And if you kind of look at this, let me get some of these drawings out of here. So this is the commodity here where we came on up, the CRB index, we've pulled on back. It does look like we're consolidating, like we want to turn and move higher again. This could be wave one, and then a wave three eventually will come. But usually between these waves, you get kind of a ABC correction that comes down, usually. Gold heading a little bit lower today. We've had a stronger dollar, a slightly lower 10-year. That the dollar really pushes gold around, but not a huge big move lower. We're still above the broken downtrend line, and we're going to use that as support here at any second. Silver also heading lower. Again, we're still above the trend line and support lines. And then platinum also heading lower, still above the support lines. XAU to gold ratio. Some of the mining companies were outperforming gold and silver today. That's why it was up 0.82%. Broken down trend line. I think it still looks good down here in this general vicinity for gold and silver miners. On the big picture view, though, we have not broken this long-term downtrend line. That is what we need to break, but it does look like we're firming up here and going to try to make a move to the upside at some point in the short term. Looking at GDX, the ETF GDX, we are right above the support level or line, and we're just bouncing off that support line. SILJ also slightly up. I still think we got some downside momentum behind us that needs to turn around. But right now, we haven't turned around yet. I don't see a reversal candlestick anywhere in here, but we've broken the downtrend line. We're still above support. I'm still bullish, except in the very short term, we could see another down day or two until the buyers step in and show us that they're there. Crude oil, using this as a support level. I threw this guy in here. That is a downtrend line. We've broken the downtrend line. We did a retest move. We are getting buying pressure, and hopefully the buyers remain and this momentum can continue higher. We're right at support as well. That's what that long-term support line is right here, the support line coming up. You can see it. Here's the weekly movement. And we're right on that support level. We're putting in a wick at the bottom, putting in a hammer candlestick, and a potential bounce off that support today. That's looking a lot better. Natural gas, again, we are still hanging out right on top of this resistance line. We hit the resistance line. We came back. It's basically a cup and handle pattern. And we're right there. I don't see a ton of selling pressure. There's no reversal candlesticks that have shown us yet. I am still of the kind that thinks that this could potentially break out here to the upside. That's natural gas. XOP, yeah, you know me. This thing is breaking higher. We got that support with oil. I was a little bit concerned that we may push lower. I know Biden wants oil lower. He talks about it all the time. They've been releasing strategic petroleum reserve releases. They're doing everything they can to push this thing lower. The fundamentals are just so bullish right now that you've got Biden and his team trying to push this lower, and then you've got the fundamentals wanting to go higher in terms of shortages and inventory draws. This looks very good for XOP to go higher. Nice, good, strong day today. But we've got some resistance coming through here. It's breaking through that resistance, and all it needs is a little bit of buying pressure to get this thing to run. If you scroll out a little bit, we had nice, good buying opportunity here. I talked about that on the website. The question and answer sessions. I'm like, here's a good spot to be buying. You're right above support. Downtrend line, it's a little different on logarithmic. There's the downtrend line on logarithmic. But if this thing can get some momentum, we could see a big old move to the upside in the SPDR S&P oil and gas exploration and production. So that's looking good. Energy service companies are also looking good today. We are above support. That's that white line, the second support line. We dipped a little bit below it, but we've been heading higher today. We're cutting through some resistance levels today, 1 and 2 resistance levels. And I think that the energy service companies look very strong down here. So that's looking good. So I'm surprised that we got this big old buying pressure. I mean, not really surprised, but I know Biden's been trying to push this lower. I was like, man, is he going to be successful at doing it or not? But the market fundamentals, I think, they're very strong, and we'll see what he does. I wouldn't put it past him to do something crazy. Uranium futures have been moving sideways. We're in this consolidation period, and this could break at any point. I think it's going to break to the upside. It's squeezing up. And looking at the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, we are above the support level, and we've broken the downtrend line. This is good for a move higher. I like it down here. If you like Sprott Physical Uranium Trust, this is the spot I would be looking at it myself. URNM, we kind of broken out of this downtrend. We've got support underneath it, down in this general vicinity, right where we're at. I think it looks good for a potential long position. In CCJ, it's still holding on. I don't see a ton of selling pressure. We had a little bit more yesterday, but today it looks like the buyers are coming in and buying up a little bit. Yeah, it's a flat day. We do have support down here, so we'll see which way this thing breaks. Scrolling down, looking at tan. Tan is still remaining resilient. I still think this is going to go higher. We've broken the downtrend line. That still looks really good. COPX, copper ETF. Again, looks like we're putting in a little bit of pattern here. And I think we'll eventually break to the upside. It's a continuation pattern. So that looks good for copper. Scrolling down, looking at rare earth metals. Rare earth metals are still in the uptrend. A little bit of an up day today. Broken out of the pattern. It's still cooking to the upside. Looks good. Lithium also looking good. Not too much selling pressure going on. Nothing quickly reversing. No reversal candlesticks. Broken down trend line. I think this still looks good to go higher in the short term. Your risk reward up here is obviously a lot different than if you were buying it down here, especially this bullish engulfing there. But still looks good. Still holding on. The S&P 500. We have not broken out of this channel yet, or expanding wedge kind of channel. And we're getting towards the upper end of that channel. So we got to see if we want to break or if we're going to head lower. We've broken out of the U.S. Composite Index to the upside, but again, we're just moving sideways. I don't see a lot of selling pressure anywhere in here. I don't see any large down candlesticks. So that leaves me to believe that we could continue to go higher to the upside since there isn't much selling pressure at this time. So that still looks A-OK. And EEM, again, not much selling pressure going on anywhere in this general vicinity over here. I am still inclined to think that this will go higher over time. The dollar is not helping this fund at this moment, the DXY. Usually, foreign or emerging markets do pretty well if their currencies outperform the dollar. It's kind of the tailwind behind it. XHB, still moving sideways, still holding on relatively well. We've seen some weakness in the housing starts, but the XHB Home Builders ETF is actually very strong in relationship to the weakness in the housing starts that I've seen. So we'll see which way this thing breaks. It's still looking good, though. Lumber kind of falling off today, heading lower. It's a pretty big down day, and it finished quite strong. We could see further downside there. Looking at cocoa futures, just moving sideways. Again, I think this will head higher over time. We've broken the downtrend. We've got some big up days, small down days. Still looks good. Wheat looks like it's playing with its support line here, this long-term support line. We got to see if tomorrow, if it comes back above it, and that support is actually there. Soybeans still squeezing up in its pattern. We've got corn moving sideways in a channel. And then we've got copper looking quite resilient. This guy is heading higher. It looks good to move higher if it wants to, but overall, broken down trend line, and copper looks all right. And copper is a signal that the economy, perhaps people are expecting the economy to turn around here. We've got Moo. Moo is moving sideways. Again, this still looks good. Not much selling pressure anywhere in here. Buyers in control. Higher. Higher is what I see at this time. Scrolling down, looking at aluminum. Aluminum still just banging out this bottom here. Banging out this bottom. But I do think this is a good spot to be looking at some of the companies if you like aluminum. And then the Baltic Dry Index is also moving sideways up 0.5%. I think eventually this will turn around. It's coming right back to where it started. That's usually an indication of kind of a move where we could potentially head higher. So that's what we've got for today, guys. Oil and natural gas looking quite strong with the energy service companies. I was curious to see if that support line was going to hold. Looks like it's holding at this time. We'll see what tomorrow has in store for us, and if it continues higher with that momentum. Uranium's looking a little bit better. It's looking a little more solid. There might be some opportunities in that area. And precious metals, they're still looking all right. A little bit of weakness in them is what I would say. I wouldn't say they look great, but I wouldn't say they look horrible. They're definitely not as strong as oil and natural gas. They aren't as strong as uranium either. And then all the other commodities look pretty strong. I think they look pretty good. A lot of them have broken downtrends. They're above support. That's where I like to look. So that's what we've got for today. Give me a thumb up if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the website below. Platinum membership if you're interested in getting more information. We've got a question and answer session Sunday, 5 p.m. If you want to join that and you're a Platinum member, you can join it and ask me questions directly about anything. But that's what I've got for today, guys. Looks like it's not too bad of a day, at least if you're exposed to oil, natural gas, and uranium. And we'll catch you next time. This is Finding Value.